I'm at somebody's garage every weekend. I would say it's the dominant factor of the influence in what I do. This place is like a sanctuary, so to speak. It's kind of like a retreat from the day-to-day life at work. This is the one I was thinking about taking to the city, but this thing is stealth. I'm a huge fan of black cars. Oh, it reminds me of myself. You know, my dad was a carpenter, but my dad, he didn't make much money, so he had a souped-up van, Dodge van, with the fat Anson Sprint tires, side pipes, with the wood grain steering wheel, with the chain links, the custom cup holders out of wood with the heavy varnish. That's how I really got into it, man. He would race that van from our apartment complex in Atlantis and Virginia Beach all the way to the drag strip. It wasn't one of these kind of cars. You know, he couldn't afford one of these. So he had to get something that all the family could get into. To have a wing car, that was, for me, the ultimate car to buy. It got me to thinking. I was like, you know, this makes for such a great clothing brand. So I wanted to do the same thing, but how could I translate car culture into a clothing culture? So I tried to, in my head, summarize all the things that I had learned from my friends and the cars into an icon. And that icon ended up being the cherub. And the cherub, I didn't want to just do a beautiful cherub, I wanted to do a cherub that represented how the car looked. So I translated the 69 Daytona into a cherub. Outside of an icon, you have to have a tagline. And so again, I had to follow suit. And the tagline was bruised, never broken. Just like the vehicle and it being destroyed, it also is beautiful at that particular time. It had a lot of rich history.
Man, we gotta drain some of this oil out.
I actually get a kick out of this more than anything else. You know, it's an exact science for me. It's no guesswork. You know, when I go to work, it's all guessing, but with this, I mean, 1 plus 2, you know, it's 3.
Okay, Don Cat. Even if we gotta put a little back in, that's okay.
The actual getting dirty part actually adds to the creativity, so to speak. It's when you wipe your hands to get it clean onto your jeans. It's when you're, you know, draining the fluids from the radiator, or it's the grease, or it's the gook, or just whatever you're experiencing when you're working with the cars. When it comes to my career, you have to guess. I have to figure out. Maybe, you know, the general public's not into this season. So it's nice to get away from all the guessing. I like to see myself as being one of those small companies that compete with like really large companies and being able to kind of run circles around them. So my bar is pretty high.
Can you really hear it kicking now?
Guys, I know it. I hear.
I mean, the inspiration is simple. All I have to do is come here, hang out with my friends, and work on the cars, and that's my season. I just keep it tight and right, as they say. New York was the place to be. That's where all the fashion design houses were. I didn't even take a summer off like some kids right out of school. My dad gave me $1,000. He was the first person in the family to graduate out of college. I ran out of money like that with $1,000. So I had to handwrite my resumes, which was really embarrassing. I had no food, no money. I had to jump through turnstiles in New York. But again, I was on my own. I was determined not to call my parents for help. Well, I knew that the Empire State Building had a lot of fashion companies in it. And I just started at the very top and worked my way down. And I ended up at the 26th floor. And I was kind of lucky because it was a secretary, Tim. But she didn't know any better, so she took it to the lead designer, which was Robert Stock, and gave him the resume, and he called me back instantly and gave me a job after seeing my portfolio. And I would work 7 days a week at that job. And it didn't matter to me what it was. I was in the industry and I was away from home and I was independent and you know, I was on my way. So I ended up making, what, $23,000 a year and worked there for like 3 years or so just to get enough experience before moving on to the next company, which was Donna Karen. And worked there for a while and ended up at Nike. Nike ended up giving me a promotion, so I ended up going to Hong Kong and Japan to live for about 5 years or so. It made me very aware with everything the Japanese did, and as far as clothing was concerned, domestically for their own consumer was amazing. PRPS is short, the abbreviation for purpose. When it comes to the gene, for me, every hole, every stain, every discoloring, every hand brushed or chafing or serves a purpose or has been a purpose or something that a person has been involved in over the time or span of that gene. So he has a hole. It's there because he did something. Maybe he was on his knees and he's changed the tire, or maybe he fell down, he was pushed. Whatever the case may be, that hole has been there, purposeful, like it was put there through his lifestyle. This is the new PRPS working studio. It's a combination of the design studio, sales, and showroom. This is classic early nostalgia. There's a hint of the car memorabilia, there's a hint of like the old garage, and there's a hint of just like a mechanic shop. I'm not some fancy couturier style designer, I'm a jean designer. It's just a very high-end, higher than premium denim line that's manufactured in Japan using the best fabrication that you can find out there, from cotton that's shipped from Zimbabwe to Japan, woven, dyed, and loomed, and just gorgeous fabrication, gorgeous craftsmanship, old world style. I do it for a very cult, discriminating consumer who's into having something that's different than the next guy. If you think back to the early 1800s when Mr. Levi Strauss created them, I mean, he created them for the guy who was mining gold, San Francisco and the gold rush, and it was a perfect fabrication for them. And they didn't have laundromats or dry cleaners, you know, that they could just drop off their jeans. So they wore them every day without washing them. And that's how we got to learn to appreciate from looking at their jeans. Hey, these things change over time. You're inspired by these items. And I buy vintage jeans, and I look at vintage jeans, and I look at wearers who are wearing jeans on a day-to-day basis, and that's how I build my brand. This is the Bat Cave. It's a mini version of my garage. I just like to kind of look around and remember what I'm inspired by. I love this crap. This shit is so rare. You know what I'm saying? What the hell? When I come in here, I just want to remember what it is that I love about what I do and what I want to continue to communicate to the general public. That provides the original foundation for how I start. I then had to come back and at some point sit down at my desk and do a sketch. It's kind of like improvisational jazz. It's just like once you start to work with them, like you start to figure out how exactly it should look. Then I would go to the factory, and I always start the first application myself when I work with the wash technician in the factory to undertake what it is that I have envisioned in that sketch to translate to a jean. They don't manufacture for any other American company other than PRPS. I do this to keep my interest and my blood going. I had built enough of a platform, a foundation to do something and leave a mark in this world, and that is, oh, he set the benchmark for recreating the best jeans. I'm Donwan Harrell, and this is my purpose.